The Nikki Glaser Podcast. The Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Here's Nikki. Hello, here I am. Welcome to the show. It's the Nikki Glaser Podcast. Man, I sound a little loud, but I kind of like it. Maybe it'll make me talk softer.
Do you think it'll balance out low mic Brian?
Yeah, I mean, Brian Frangi's coming back from his honeymoon with a low mic, but he's getting on the right supplements, and we're all going to support him emotionally, and he's got doctors monitoring it. Brian Frangi's back, everyone.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, man.
We missed you.
I missed the pod. And you know what? I listened to 3 out of 4 of the episodes so far that I was not on, and I have so many comments.
Oh,
There were so many moments where I was like, I want to say something here and I can't say anything.
I know. And isn't that interesting?
felt
Because you used to listen as a listener and you couldn't say anything, and that was just your lot in life. But now you have an entitlement now that is warranted because you're a part of the show. Yeah, you had to have the user experience.
Yes. Oh, God, it's awful. I feel bad for all the listeners out there who can't constantly chime in with whatever bullshit they want to say.
I feel that way. Often I listen to Chris's show. If I wake up early enough, I listen to it live. It's from 6 to 10. Or if I usually listen to it on the podcast and at like 2 times the speed. But when I get to hear it live, it's so awesome because he'll get like, something will be of debate in the room of like, how old is she? Or like, did she actually, usually it's something where they're like.
Or we'll bring up a guy. We'll be like, I think this guy's a really good guy.
And I'll be like, he raped 7 women in 1981. Go look at the fact. And I'll like start spamming them.
It's just like, do your own research.
I really do. Every time there's like, I'm like, he once kicked a dog in 1997
I'm like,
on set.
Wilford Brimley, I think, is pretty clean. He's a great person.
Problematic. Diabetes, problematus. No, he seems like a good guy. But okay, so we have so much to get to today. Let me just set up the room. Okay, Brian Frangi is back. You're in California. It looks like you're home, right?
All right. I'm in California.
Yeah, back home. All right. And then, wow, okay. He made a meal of that.
I have high tea.
He made a meal. And then Anya is in New York.
What?
Anya's has her parents in New York with her right now, if we want to set the scene. They were staying with her all the weekend.
This is one of 7 pills I've found. This is what happens when 80-year-olds stay with you. There's just stray medication everywhere.
Or like a weekend with Nikki.
I have so many pills too.
I'm like, what is this?
I will never take a pill and just be like, well, I wonder what's this experience going to be like. There are a lot that I don't know, and then I just throw them into a creek.
One side will make you grow taller and the other side will make you grow smaller. Do you know that movie?
Sleeping Beauty?
This is
Alice in Wonderland? Some 1970s shit.
Yeah.
1970s.
Alice in Wonderland.
Okay. Oh.
You know how you're supposed to dispose of pills? Because if you put them in the toilet or something, they're bad for the environment?
Yeah. That's what was my joke about putting them in.
I don't know how. I forgot. Does anyone remember?
Well, there's one. I know the Courtney Show does an ad for a place called, what's it called? I hate the name of it so much.
It's a rough.
Prevent Ed.
That's it. And we're like, what did Ed do?
I'm like, I almost wrote into the store one time and I was like, Courtney, I think it's supposed to be prevented.com, but they like did it wrong. But then I looked it up and I was like, I'm glad I didn't say that because it literally is prevented.com.
What the hell?
And you can send in your medication and they mix it, or they send you a mixture to put in with your medication that makes it
neutralizes it.
Yeah, yes. And then you can dump it.
Wait, so what does Ed stand for?
I thought it was prevent erectile dysfunction.
I know. I think that's what a lot of people are. They're swallowing that goo they send them, and then they're
Well, then their insides get hard.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh my God, my dad almost killed Matt over the weekend.
Wow. Okay.
This is another thing 80-year-olds do is they don't look at what is in front of them. They're just haphazard, or at least it's just my dad. So I had a bowl of cherries.
Oh no, it all starts with cherries.
It does. Then there was
seem like a crime scene exhibit A kind of thing.
It also
Both
seems like
cherries on the
something
floor.
that only happened 100 years ago when people were like, life is but a bowl of cherries. It's like, nobody's got a bowl of cherries anymore. That was an old-timey saying.
What is a bowl? When did you get cherries and why do you have
They
cherries?
had I guess it's like cherry season.
Oh, your mom brings like vegetables and fruit.
It is
I went
cherry
to the-
season. It is. I can
the
confirm.
wildest thing at the store. They have them there. It's insane.
I know, but I thought you said it was the season, so your mom picked them from a tree on her farm or something.
Well,
My
let's
mom
contact the
does
cherry.
go rogue.
Your mom brought
Yeah.
me a bag of lemons one time to like a show that she came to see.
Yeah, I'm like,
and that
Mom,
was,
we're in San Francisco. Nikki lives in Missouri. She's flying home tomorrow. She's like, but I have these from my tree for Nikki.
it was really sweet, but that's why I thought she brought the cherries.
Yeah,
Okay.
she just likes fruit. So I brought her some fruit. I'm trying to get her acclimated here in Hudson Valley. Anyway, I have a large glass bowl of cherries, and then I have two small bowls that are white and ceramic. One has trail mix in it. It's like medium sized. And then there's a tiny white bowl for cherry pits.
pit.
Ah, yes.
Because if dogs eat cherry
And for the
pits,
shitty part of the trail mix,
yeah,
like the peanut.
exactly.
You put
which,
the pit in with the
Yeah,
granola.
yeah. Oh yeah, whatever part you don't like, get it
and
in
Nikki,
there.
what does a peanut look like? A cherry pit, right?
Oh, this
So
is
my
where we're
dad's
at.
just willy-nilly eating all the cherries.
Wow.
And cherry pits are toxic to dogs, by the way, and people, which I didn't know.
Oh.
Also, apple seeds, Brian, I'm
Apple
sure you
seeds
know.
contain a small amount of arsenic in them. So if you eat too many apple seeds, you will get arsenic poisoning. It's a
So
Jesus.
I ate apples like whole for like a season. I remember just thinking like, I'm just going to eat the whole apple and be cool. Never had an issue, but I've eaten many apples entirely.
Wait, you ate the whole. Why?
I don't know. I just got into it once and was like, why are we throwing this part away? It's like kind of probably
Because
good
it
for
has
you.
like really gross stuff up in it. It has like spider webs in it sometimes.
I have a similar.
disgusting.
I don't know if this is allowed either. Like for my cousin, I don't know whether he was tricking me when I was young.
Yeah.
He started like eating peanuts with the shell, and he was like, "Yeah, you can just eat the whole
I
thing."
love that. I
and
do
so I was
that.
like, "Oh yeah, I'll do that too." And then I was doing that for a while, and then at one point I was like, "Did he just do this twice to trick me into doing this for the rest of my
one
life?"
of those lies. But I
I
used to
love
eat
those.
only the peanut shell.
what?
I didn't like
Really?
the peanut part.
What?
Yeah. Even as a kid, it wasn't like I was like trying to avoid calories, even though it was calorie conscious. As a kid, I would
You're 6.
throw out the. I was 6 because it's salty on the outside.
Yeah.
And you like almost choke to death every single time. And it's
we
like
love.
you're living. You're just. This is my.
You're
You're
like,
going in a
I'll be-
submarine.
I know I'll be into this.
Yes,
in 20
when I'm
years.
older.
Yeah, I was like getting kind of horny about it when I would gag on these. You went there.
Well,
you brought me
nice,
there.
Chris.
I shouldn't have.
Gave me the map.
Yeah.
I was not even headed in that direction, and you go, "Hey, you know, a nice trail to take would be this one," and you pointed me in that direction, and then okay, all right,
All right, so
right.
now,
All
okay,
right.
now you're going to give it back to me. On this podcast, there will be payback.
I will get you. I will
Deep
take
tease.
I will take you somewhere where you'll go glaze and you'll want it taken out, but we're gonna leave it in. All right. So okay.
So that trail brings us back to trail mix, which my dad is eating by the fistful and also doing the cherries, double dose. Of course, at one point, he just throws a cherry pit into the trail mix, which nobody knows about until Matt takes a handful of trail mix. And then I see him go, he's like choking and he's like, ow, my tooth. And then he's like, spits something out. And then he rushes to the bathroom. And I'm like, I already know what this is. And then he comes out and he looks furious.
Yeah.
So Matt has broken open a cherry pit, thinking it's a peanut,
Oh, okay.
and
I thought it was a
swallowed
tooth.
it. No.
No,
Broke the
that,
cherry
that
pit.
used to
Broke
be in
his
your dad's
tooth.
mouth, by the way.
Disgusting. Yes. So he looks like grossed out.
I just heard
also
the Price is
fearful.
Right. Dun, 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 sound. I'm not even kidding you. It just played, and I wondered if Noah played it. What the fuck did I? That was weird.
Well, that was perfect.
It's like it, but it was perfectly on time. What if my brain is putting those sounds in stuff?
I gotta get you a
That was
soundboard.
so weird. Did anyone else who's listening to the
That-
podcast hear it? Because I was
but I
like
think
scratching
this is
my
how-
ear.
This is how people hear ghosts. Like sometimes I'll hear like Anya, and I know it didn't happen in real life, but I'll hear, don't do that. But I'll hear like voices.
What?
No, that's good. That's really good because that's your inner voice. Because all these books I'm reading, you are hearing like voices. If you listen, if you're really plugged in with your body and your like mind, your subconscious is telling you shit all the time. So you're plugged into that.
Am I?
That inner voice. Whereas my inner voice is me. So I would never hear, if I go like, ew, that shirt's ugly, I would never think it was someone else. It's like Dave Matthews said on stage that blew my mind. He was like, I read somewhere.
He goes, this is
He
what
goes,
he
it
said. He
smells
goes,
good out
"Yeah, it
there
smells
tonight, everyone. And you go, woo, pot. He's talking
Yeah,
about
he's talking about us
weed.
smoking weed out here on the lawn.
He smells it. He's
And then he
hilarious.
hikes his guitar way up. He goes, you know what? Sometimes.
No, but when he said that, he goes, he had like a revelation and he shared it with us. And I already said this, but it bears repeating, that he was like, someone told me that the voices in my head, I'm just an audience for them. They're not me. Like, I'm just listening to them. They're not me. And that, like, he separated. And then he started going into it and he was like, going into some of the voices and they were like, you're not as talented as you think you are. Everyone doesn't like you. Like, it was all the voices that I have. And I was like, you're fucking Dave Matthews.
Dave Matthews.
With like, who is one of the biggest grossing artists of, not the grossest.
Well, I mean, his hair is
He went through a
thinning.
couple of years.
Yeah.
But he's back. He back,
baby.
baby.
He looks good.
And
I've
not
said
that I would
before,
ever
yeah.
care about that.
Never
I've
even
only tried to hurt
considered
one
it.
person.
All right, Rob Thomas v. Dave Matthews right now.
Okay, Dave Matthews, because it's just ingrained in me as a child, like as literally a 17-year-old, I guess we could count that as a child, to be attracted to him. But Rob Thomas is more like your friend that you like, or like you acknowledge he's cute, but he's just Rob Thomas. I can't get over it. He's the best person. I can't wait for you to meet him. I looked at his tour schedule so we could go hang out with him because he's going to love you. You guys are going to be best buds. It's going to be wild. We're going to go like on tour with him. I'm obsessed.
Every story I've heard about him has been great.
Yeah.
From other people.
Courtney had a bunch
loves him.
because she's talked to him like 4 times over the years working in radio. And he's always been kind. He's always been hilarious. She had like specific stories to tell about him. And like, you just can't find a bad story about old RT. And
I think he's a monster.
oh God.
No. Anya. Coming with the cherry pit.
Nikki texts into the show.
Yeah, I text you, Anya. I'm like, actually, you keep your mouth fucking shut about that incident in 1997.
I can't believe
when we interviewed
RT
him.
got friend zoned so fast
I
by
know.
good old Glazed dog.
Putting
So
a
what
matchbox.
happened? What?
He doesn't want any of this, and I don't want our relation. I'm not gonna be friends with Dave Matthews, so I could say like, oh, he's so hot or whatever. But if I want to be friends with someone, I'm also not gonna sexualize them either, and I would not want him to do that to me.
Yeah,
like,
you've got boundaries.
I have good.
Yeah.
I
But
have
you
some-
and Taylor both commented
This
on
was
how
with Dave.
he was a
He's-
good-looking guy.
Well, I'm commenting on he looks exactly the same as he did in the 90s. And but he is a good-looking guy. There's no, but it's not,
Easy.
I'm not like,
What's going on over there? Let's get back to Matt being furious with your
well, okay,
dad.
let me just say, he didn't almost kill Matt. Matt just almost broke a tooth, which is terrible. But the cherry seed is never going to choke you to death.
It's not that. I was shocked to learn. Like, cherry pits have cyanide in them. If chewed, you could like release some cyanide, and there's conflicting reports. I immediately was like, "Babe,
Why
you're
would
gonna
we
be
have
fine."
them all over the place?
I know.
Constantly. If kids could get their hands on them, the kids would be dying
It's
by
not
the
enough.
droves.
It's a very
You have
small
to eat
amount.
like 7.
The
But
only
if
person-
you chew it, if you open the pit, it's much worse than just swallowing it whole because
Right.
there's cyanide in there. And Matt evidently did that. I was like, "You're going to be fine." And I think he was just like, I fucking had it at this point. It had been a long weekend, let's just
Yes.
say. And, sucking
It's
on
been
somebody
a-
else's cherry pit is never
Disgusting.
Sucking on cherry pits.
Okay, I have,
Taste free.
I have some information. So they do have
Okay.
they have cyanide in them. Hard stone in the center of cherries is full of prussic acid, also known as cyanide, which is poisonous. But don't freak out because if you accidentally swallow one, it'll just pass through your system. But if you do what Matt did and you crunch down on it, eating just 3 to 4 pits of the Morello cherry or
Isn't this
7
crazy?
pits of red or black cherries will lead to cyanide toxicity.
and stomach
doesn't
cramps
mean
for days
kill.
or death. No, a man died, a grown man died after eating 3 cherry pits, which of course Matt finds that article. I'm like, let's put the internet away and just like sit.
Did he eat it though? He spit it out though, right?
He ate it. He's like, I think I swallowed half of it and half of it I spit out. I'm not sure.
Wow.
I think at that point he was just done and I had to leave him alone.
I'm gonna be like one of these wives someday that like wants
Who
to
you
kill
marrying?
you. Okay, so remember, you know how wives kill their husbands
Yeah.
and they're like, here's this tea, honey. I'm gonna be like, it's a new cherry pit tea I found.
You weren't
Apple
lying.
seed cherry pit tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
and
you're gonna
Chris
be
is
like,
gonna be like, here's
"What's
some
this
penny
rings a
royalty.
bell? I think I've heard about this before. I'm like, we did a podcast about it, you fucking dumb fuck.
Well, didn't you? That's what you said.
And
I
you're
think
like
last time I was
80
on, you were like, "How dumb is this guy for marrying a girl that wants to kill him?"
Yeah, and you're gonna be but you're gonna be senile. It's not your fault.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like you're smart now.
She's
and
gonna
you
wait
don't,
it out.
And you
Thanks.
don't. And I'm fucking crazy. Right now, I would never kill you. But no one knows what's gonna happen in 30 to 40 years.
We don't know what
I can hit
voices
my
are in
head.
your head or what sound effects are going to lead you
I'm
to
not
kill
gonna-
me.
Yeah, all of a sudden, it's going to be like bump bump.
It's Jaws.
There's going to be a Law and Order. Bump bump.
Law and Order,
And then
yeah.
while she's waiting for me to die, what's the sound effect while she's waiting for me to die?
Do 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 do.
Yes, Brian.
That's great.
Just kidding.
Anya, I do love your it's so crazy.
It's so good. We could
I'm not even
learn.
gonna try.
Your mom can do the whistle,
Oh, her whistle's insane.
the mouth whistle. Can
Yeah.
anyone do that one?
I've
Don't do it
always
now.
wanted to do that.
But it is. You can kind of do it, Chris.
It sounds terrible. I mean,
Looks
I
like
really
you're
can't.
trying to kill yourself with two guns. Like you're doing like, oh, that was a horrible conversation.
double bulimic.
How do you, like,
you
what's
can do
the
it.
trick
your
to
tongue
doing it?
back. You fold
never
your tongue,
understood.
right?
Yeah, you fold your tongue back. I mean, yeah, you fold your tongue back. My mom can do it with like
One hand.
one hand. I have to do it with two.
Badass.
Yeah.
One
That is a
hand
cool
is
party
so
trick.
badass. I remember seeing kids do this,
That's good.
Oh,
Flip
it's
a
like
bird.
a Native
It's a
American
struggle.
flute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and when I was a child, I was like, that is so
Cocopelli.
cool. Just this, like the shape of it, where the
Anya,
fingers
what are you doing
bent.
to us?
Well, I'm just showing you something that is almost as cool as a one-handed whistle.
Middle
which
finger?
Is
You're flipping us
flipping
the
the
bird.
But when I was
Yeah.
a kid, I would have to like hold my fingers down,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I couldn't
Still
figure
doing
out.
it.
Look how
What is
lame
this?
this
Why-
looks.
No,
Are
she's
you mad
saying-
at Brian?
I get it. Like
just
when
showing
you're a
you guys
kid,
a cool hand movement.
I saw a kid the other day that was so cute. It was like a baby, and he had just learned how to do thumbs up, and he had done something. And they were like, "Yay!" And he like looked at his hands, and he was just really focused, and he was just like slowly his thumbs went up, and he was like, "Yeah!" Like, but he had to
figure
look
it
at
out.
every finger.
Yeah.
It's almost like it was so cute.
My sister
That's
did
how
that.
I was
we were,
when I learned the bird.
yeah,
the
it makes
bird.
sense.
We were skydiving, me and my sister. I think I gave it to her for
Jesus
her 18th
Christ.
birthday.
You
Yeah.
skydove?
Yeah,
Yes.
with my sister. And on the way down,
Dive?
I think she tried, she's not this kind of person. Like she doesn't do like, but I think on the way down, she tried to flip me off as like, just to be funny with me.
Yeah.
But instead she held up all the fingers except for her middle finger. Her like brain wasn't working properly.
Yeah, she doesn't do it.
She's just like,
not a person that
I'm
gives
gonna
the middle
die."
finger.
No,
That
she's
is
not.
so hard.
Yeah, it's hard to do, but she did it.
Oh, I get so nervous whenever people post her pictures and they're like, let's do the heavy metal rock. I'm always like, I'm going to do some Nazi symbol. I know, because I don't know which one is.
You should do the opposite because like Taylor Swift is, and then it becomes like the Dane Cook super finger.
Oh, yes, Sufi.
Taylor Swift gives the horns. I saw it with my own eyes.
What do you mean?
She went like this. Like this.
Oh, she does?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she can. I mean, she can do everything. I don't know why I'm putting that, like this simple hand movement as like, God, she's so fucking amazing. She can sing, she can dance, she writes her own music. She's a fucking near billionaire, and she can do the devil horns with her hand, like without thinking.
Yeah, as of today, she's number 2 on the lady musician list.
Yeah, and she did it without the use of slave labor to make her products, like
True.
like Rihanna did.
There's
So
a lady
Rihanna's sorry.
No,
I
no,
need to get
hey,
it right.
what can you
Rihanna's
do?
number 1, and it's totally on the backs of slave labor making all of her Fenty stuff. So
Oh, that's just
Taylor did it
total
without
money.
slaves.
Total money earned.
Yeah. Well, Taylor has her merch, but Taylor's never been. We were talking about this in the kitchen just before. This is just a little private, little purview into Chris and I's life. We were talking about this, and yeah, Taylor Swift doesn't take any money to perform in Dubai. She's never done a private party ever. She doesn't do any, like, I'm not going to say ever, but she doesn't do any private events where they pay them millions of dollars. So this bitch is about to make $1 billion with just her music.
It's crazy.
And her merchandise, which needs some help.
yeah, she would have been a bill a long time ago if
No, we'll still,
that merch was top
it's
notch.
true. I mean, yeah, but we'll still buy it. Okay, we got to go to break. We have a lot to talk about. Brian's marriage. Noah went to Taylor Swift this weekend.
Huge.
We did. I don't know.
Anya looks
my
great.
dad performed with me in California, and Anya had her parents in town. So we'll talk about all of that and more, and maybe not even all of it. Most likely not all of it. We got too much to get to. So we'll be back right after this. All right, we're back. Let's start off with Frangie's wedding because we've talked about it a little bit.
What a time.
I'm almost wanting to start with Noah because what Noah experienced this weekend is almost the same as like a marriage because it's something you only get to do once or 8 times in a summer in your life.
It was transformational.
But no, let's start with Brian's.
Which relationship do you think is going to last longer? Noah's with Taylor Swift or Brian's with his wife?
I think they're both going to go the full. I think there's no going back for Noah now.
Okay, good.
There's no nothing could happen that will make Noah not a Swiftie. Okay, Brian, how are you feeling now? Almost 2 weeks out of being married? What's it been like?
It's been great. I had a lot of anxiety leading up to it. Peak anxiety. I couldn't sleep the night before. I didn't sleep for a single second the night before. I had to cancel my morning brunch that I was supposed to have with my boys or whatever. I canceled
and what?
That was a good call, though.
Yeah, definitely. Those guys.
Well,
I was
just
happy to
laid
hear
in
that
bed, laid in bed, just not sleeping for hours.
I thought maybe laying in bread was like one of those things you researched and it like helps somebody's anxiety.
I got a
I
gigantic
trust Brian.
loaf of warm bread and I laid in it, and it didn't even help.
And what was the anxiety, if you don't mind me asking? Was it like 100 different things, seeing all the family? Was it doing your vows and not
His
like
best man speech.
Oh yeah.
Here's what they don't tell you about weddings is that everyone puts an incredible amount of pressure
Listen
on
up,
you.
Anya.
Everyone puts an incredible amount of pressure on you to have the best day of your life. And if you're not having the best day of your life, you're a piece of shit. You make everybody
Oh my
sad.
God, you're so right.
And that's why I had anxiety, because I frequently feel like shit. I have chronic pain and all these types of problems. And I was worried that I was going to feel like shit on my wedding day. And then on top of that, disappoint everybody who's all trying so hard to make me have a great
Have you ever heard
time.
of lying?
No.
Like just saying that you had the best day? Or,
Well,
like if you didn't,
I also
can you
wanted
not-
to have a good time. I
think that's-
I didn't
I
want to
think
lie to
that's it.
myself.
You wanted to have the best time. I understand the pressure that other people put on you, like this better be the best day. But I think deep down you wanted to have the best day possible. And I also hear that a lot from Anya about her anxiety is like, I want to make sure that I absorb this
my
day
God.
and I remember it and I have memories from this day and that it is the most special day of my life. But it's just a day and it's a party and it's
Wait, before you finish,
magical,
can I
but
share a funny story?
Yes.
I was freaking out, having an anxiety spiral at like midnight or 1. I can't remember. It felt like 1 a.m. And Nikki's as always, like talking me off the ledge. And she's like, play out your fears. I'm like, that I won't be present, that I'll miss it, that I'm going to fuck something up. I'll forget something important.
Can you read your exact thing? Because it was very interesting. You have it.
I can't.
I have it.
Okay. But and then can I just read in your tone what you said to me? Because it made me laugh so fucking hard. Imagine me in bed in the dark, just like all on the verge of tears, and I won't be present and I won't be there.
I know. I want to have a nice day and be present, but I'm already lamenting it being over and me missing it because I wasn't really allowing myself to have fun. I'm not even making sense. Thanks for listening to this. I'd feel better just writing it out.
And
that
then
was
Nikki
your
goes,
thing.
babe, no offense, no one cares at all.
They don't.
She goes, literally, everyone will forget everything
said-
about this day
I said,
the
I
moment
swear-
it's over.
I go, no one, there's, wait, what did I say?
There was something else that made me laugh so hard. It was like a combination of over and over, like, babe, no one cares.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter at all, which just made me laugh so hard. The anxiety passed.
Yes, I go, it's just a
doesn't even
party.
know
And
when
much
she's
like
being
every
funny.
person, this is it. It's just a party. And much like every person I know who throws parties, you're riddled with anxiety. And I said, I don't get why people do them. And I said, oh God, where is it? I want to get it right. because no one is going to cut you out of their life because you didn't respond to an email in person. Okay, this is another thing. You were like, people are emailing me back, but there was a worry about kombucha. This was the big worry. She goes,
She's worried it has cyanide in it.
yeah. She
No,
goes,
the
okay.
chef wanted to know
I
if you
can't
should bring a
sleep
big
because
mason
it's
jar.
so many decisions to be made and many things to do. Overwhelming to the point of paralysis. Eventually, I'll get to it, but it's all exhausting. So true. Too many dumb things like whether I have to decide on whether I want to serve kombucha in a big container or just let people serve themselves. And I can't even bring myself to reply to an email. I said, big container. There, done. And she's like, I mean, I'm doing my own hair and makeup, but I'm like, is this the dumb decision? Which I
Right.
totally get too, because I did a whole podcast about I did my own hair and makeup for Ted Lasso event, and I was crying all
regretted
night
it.
long. Yes, I said, do your own hair and makeup. You know what you like, because I know you, and like you don't like any big eyelashes and like crazy winged thing. Like you don't want to you don't need to contour. You know what you look like pretty. And then I said, babe, this will be a bunch of pics on Instagram for one day, and those pics will only be revisited by you and Matt after that. And that, I know that's harsh, but it's true.
No, it's true.
How you look does not need to be like you're going to the Oscars. Like, it's not going to be, I said, weddings are forgettable. They all are. You don't have to, and I go, and about, like, she's worried. But this is the thing about weddings that I worry about. And I talked to Chris, like, if we have a wedding, I feel like I'll never see Chris because he will have to like spend individual time with everyone because they like made the effort to be there and you want to have a moment with everyone. And I said, you don't have to hang with them. It's their choice to come. Let them be mad at you. Would you be mad at them in the same circumstance? And then I said, and it's New York City. Like if they flew in, they can find things to do. Get on a fucking double-decker bus, take a tour, go to a Broadway show, walk down the street, walk on the High Line. But yeah, my mom gets mad at me too when she's like getting dressed and I go, and she's like, should I wear this with this? And I go, no one is looking at you. And that soothes me because I had the revelation at a young age in the gym in LA where everyone was so fit and perfect. And I was going through like a chubby phase in my life and I didn't want to go to the gym. And I went there and I realized no one is looking at me. Everyone's looking at themselves. And it's the same as I gave the same advice to Noah for Taylor Swift because she was worried about what should I wear this sparkly dress or should I wear this red dress? It's a little more subdued. Like I don't want to be going over. And I go, no offense. Like no one is going to look at you because no one. Everyone's so obsessed with their own outfit. They are just like,
their own
are
world.
people good looking at me? And so no one looks at you.
No one gives a shit about what anyone does at any time unless it
And
hurts them
weddings are-
personally.
Yes, and weddings are great, and but just think about the weddings you've been to in your life. That yes, you have fond memories of them, but you're not remembering every detail of them. You're not revisiting. You're not like flipping through photos and going, "Wow, that wedding I went to 4 years ago." Like it's important to the people who have it. So don't worry about other people's experience as much. Was my point. Not to be like no one cares because we do care. We're going, but take a little bit of that off.
I'll be looking at you the whole time and judging the whole. Every second I'm there, I'm going to be like, I can't believe she made that decision with her dress.
No, my main thing was
Princess
just like
Kate
Brian
getting married.
But I remember a lot of good things about Brian's wedding. I know it was only 2 weeks ago, but those are the highlights that you remember. Like I remember thinking, oh man, it's going to rain on this wedding. We're in trouble. And then the hail started coming down and I'm like, oh, this wedding is screwed. Like, I don't know what, I mean, Brian's going to be devastated. And then everything cleared up.
Well, yeah. As soon as it started, so it was the day of the wedding and we knew that there was a likelihood of various storms in the mountains. It always changes. And it started drizzling in the morning. And I was very worried then that it was going to rain all day. As soon as it started hailing, it was hailing buckets.
It was like white on the ground, you guys.
Yeah, it looked like it had snowed.
Yes, it was like Red Rocks, that concert, everyone.
One of the bridesmaids fell down the stairs because it was too slippery and she sprained her ankle.
Yeah, Aubrey.
Yeah, Aubrey. Aubrey, who is a bestie, by the way.
Shout out bestie, Aubrey. Hope your ankle's better, babe.
Also, by the way,
Nashville.
there's many besties in Grand Lake. I didn't even know this, but the executive chef of the Lodge restaurant is a bestie.
I know, I met her. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, she listens to the podcast.
She delivered my Beyond Burger patty and mushrooms for breakfast, and she was like, "And I'm a really huge fan. I don't want to bother you." Bye. And like literally was gone before I could even like look at her face, and I was stuffing it down my face.
And
already.
then she comes up and she's like, "I tell everybody not to ever do this to guests, but I'm asking you for a picture."
Yeah,
Can I get a picture?
she's
Sorry,
in charge,
bye.
so she's like, "Don't ever do this to people." people, but she's like, I'm doing it.
Her name's
so
Caroline Schwartz. I met her at the
Yes.
dinner. I had dinner at the lodge after the wedding, and she came up to our table and was like, "Thank you for inviting Nikki Glaser to your wedding. It was the best day of my life."
Oh, that's
And I
so
was like,
nice.
oh.
She was so nice.
Yeah.
That was really, it was just a cool, like, it was a cool weekend altogether. Chris and I got there on Thursday and the wedding was Saturday. And it was like, it was the smallest place I've stayed in my whole career since I was like traveling in Illinois as a one-nighter comedian doing like shitty
A real
bars and-
blindside small room, I'd say.
like the smallest hotel room I will ever stay in the rest of my
Yes,
life.
no.
There's no way it will ever get smaller than that. And it really brought me back to like when I would drive to Carbondale to perform at a Holiday Inn, like bar and grill, and no one would be listening to me. And I just check into like a motel essentially. But we got in, I was like, this is really small, but that's what it was. And it was not bad at all because you don't even spend time in your room. You just sleep there. I don't need a lot of space.
Yeah.
It was great. And
Yeah,
it's clean
I
as
think-
fuck.
I
And it
think
was
it's
nicely decorated.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a motel grungy. It was
No.
like just small. It was nice though.
No, I loved it. I think the whole point of those tiny rooms is to get you to hang out at the lodge.
Yeah, get out
They
of
want
there.
everybody to be like Kellerman's and Dirty Dancing and hang out in one space.
Right.
Definitely
Brian,
like
what
a
were,
summer
like-
camp vibe. There was
Oh,
few
for sure.
Yeah.
moments when Nikki had was very gracious. And one of them was the small rooms, but the other one was when the DJ started playing a terrible. The DJ was
he was so
amazing.
funny.
He was the
It
best
was
DJ
better.
in the world, but he did play a remix of a Taylor Swift song that was like.
Okay, this is the story. That's so funny. So he was a great DJ. He was very into it, very
Oh, so
professional.
good, the
Every
best.
song he would play like the perfect
good.
amount of chorus and verse, and then you would transition out of the song, and you would almost hear like a new song coming in, and you'd go like, "What the fuck is this? I know it, but I don't know what it's gonna be." And we were about Chris. How long into the night were we?
I was saying Nikki is like is one of the most intuitive
I
people
know
I've
this
ever
is the
met.
nicest thing you've ever said. To
It is.
me.
I can't tell you how many times Nikki will be watching TV or we'll be somewhere, and Nikki will like pause TV and be like, say something.
Well, we were listening to a
haven't-
podcast recently.
What was it?
It was
Oh, it was my dad wrote
my
a
dad
porno.
wrote a porno, which is a great podcast that Chris and I have always been talking about starting. But on this road trip back from Colorado to the airport, we were like, let's start it. And we were listening to it, and this guy's dad wrote a porno, and they're all making fun of it the whole time, which is that's the idea, is just to mock it. But I was kind of getting a little bit turned on by the writing because it was like a little bit like they were making fun of it being like they were making fun of the fetish in it, which was kind of like this girl's like just like an object, and like the people are just like using her, and they're like, and then I stopped it and I go, I don't think these people watch porn. I like paused it. I go, they're making fun of it in a way, like I get making fun of the writing and the word choice, but like this is actually something people are very into, and this dad is kind of nailing it. And then we press play again, and this girl goes, I just want to say I don't watch porn. And it was like, and Chris was like, how did you know?
Yeah.
Because I was like, that was the point where it was like, she has to address that she's not getting this.
And the night before, Nikki turned to me and she's like, it has been an hour and a half and this DJ hasn't played one single Taylor Swift song. The song ends like 30 seconds later, and then the Taylor Swift song
and
comes
boom.
on.
And Chris goes, this was another thing. He goes, are there Taylor Swift songs that are appropriate for a wedding? And there aren't many, to be honest with you, like when you're really wanting to dance. But we've got Shake It Off. We've got We Are Never Getting Back Together. And there's a couple other ones, but those are the two main ones. So Shake It Off begins. But it
I
is
would dance to You're Being Too Loud too.
You're being too loud. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to calm
calm down.
down.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Yeah,
But
that's me.
but Shake It Off, the
So
whole
he slowed
night
down-
he is playing
so-
every song the normal way.
But like you were saying, he would manipulate the BPMs a little bit for some songs so
Yeah.
he
But
could
not
get in and
really.
out of songs.
Yes. But then they would
every other-
crank up
yeah.
to like what they were.
Every other song. So this song starts, and I'm telling you, he slowed it down by 30%, at least.
I stay out too late.
Oh god.
Got nothing in my brain.
Yeah, it was like
That's
Taylor
what
Swift on
people
Quaaludes.
say.
Yeah.
And Brian came up to me about a minute in because we were keeping like waiting for the beat to drop where it would be like, shake it off.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't. And you could tell it wasn't ever going to. And Brian came up and he goes, is this acceptable?
I said, is
and
this
I go,
offensive?
Yes.
said,
Is this offensive to you? And I go, absolutely. And you laughed. And I go, but it's funny because it's funnier than if you played it normal. I got more joy out of like the song never reaching any kind of apex where you could let loose in any way.
You would rather him just never even. I would rather be like, oh, this guy just doesn't know that Taylor Swift has a few good songs at a wedding.
Right.
But instead it was like
bastardizing
yes.
them. But that was but I enjoyed it. But the rest of the songs were so fun.
God. So I do want to just
a great mix.
defend him. He was the best DJ. We danced the entire night. The dance floor was on fire the whole night, and the whole night he was responsible for that. He knew the right songs to play.
It was so fun.
He was amazing and so gracious and great the whole time. He lent us a speaker for the day before. He is amazing. If you're in the Colorado area, DJ Perry. He's booked until 2025. You can't get him, but he is.
You can't even get him.
You can't
even get him. Good luck.
If you're getting married in 10 years, book DJ
People
Perry.
were dancing right away, and it was still light outside, and that was surprising to me. That as soon as the speeches wrapped up and dinner was like already eaten, everyone ran to the dance floor, and it was packed the whole time.
One thing
I'm
I
having
loved.
anxiety right now.
Why?
Because I don't have dancing at my wedding. My wedding is like a lunch garden party.
But that's fine. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
You're
All
getting
right.
married during the day in the afternoon, and
Brian-
I told you should have dancing, and you said I don't want it. So like you chose that. You don't
Brian
want
got
it.
the best DJ in Denver. This was a choice.
Yeah. But no, like
One thing I did
there's
love
nowhere
is
to dance at
Brian's
Kate's.
crew was great. It kind of reminded me of like friends because most of the guys that were there were high school friends.
Yes.
And they were taking shots at Brian all weekend.
Oh, yeah.
The wives were taking shots.
I didn't know you
made
had
me
so many
feel like
fucking
right at home.
friends. Yeah, we were in the hot tub and like people would just get in and they all knew Brian from high school. There's like Brian has like 10 friends from high school and all of their wives were there. And
No, they've got a guys chat. I think it's like 15 people.
Yeah, it's about
Brian,
15. It's
guys
14.
girls
chat?
chat.
We have 9.
I asked what they talk about in the guys chat because your buddy Steinman, he was telling, who I love so much, which by the way, everyone was shit talking Steinman all weekend, being like, you don't even want to run into this guy.
I wouldn't
He's a
characterize it.
mess.
Hold on. I wouldn't characterize
you
it.
You didn't hear what I heard. You were going to get towels. These girls were like, I go, is Steinman married? Because they're all like, all of our husbands. And I go, which one of you is married to the guy who's giving the speech that I've heard about, who's like so crazy and so wild? And they're like, oh, no one could love Steinman. He'll never find anyone. I'm like, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's the best.
He gave the best speech. He fucking killed the speech. And he was like a normal guy.
Yeah, he was
I was
awesome.
like, who is this guy? I pictured like a Chris Farley character being like just out, unhinged, drunk, stumbling everywhere, kind of like a chaotic man.
No,
But
he was such a reliable, good hang at the end of the night. And
Oh, he
one
was
of the
great.
best man speeches I've ever heard in my life.
Yes. Oh, truly.
Do you have any highlights from that?
My favorite was that he was like, Brian, at the last line he added, he said he wrote that joke this morning, but he's closed it and he goes, and Brian is on strike from a job he doesn't even have.
So funny.
What was your favorite line?
That was probably it, but he
sorry.
had a few great. I mean, Brian, what were some of your favorites?
Oh God, it's all a blur. I couldn't. I don't remember anything. I have a printout of the speech, but I don't remember any specifics.
I'm
Yeah, we'll
dying
have
to
to
know
hear
about your
wedding
vows.
vows.
Yes.
his,
yeah.
his vows were
Brian's
unbelievable.
opening line for his wedding vows was the one that killed me. That's the one I've been telling people.
How long did you prepare, etc.?
The vows. Well, before I go to the vows, I just want to finish the hail thing because it was drizzling during the day, and I was afraid that it was going to rain all day. But then, as soon as it started hailing, I said to the wedding coordinator, who was also the best, I said, "This ceremony is going to be outside." As soon as it started hailing, because I knew that in the mountains, if it hails that much, it's going to stop pretty soon. Maybe we would have had to have delayed the ceremony by 20 or 30 minutes, but there's just not that much water in the air to allow.
Yeah, it's never hailed for days.
Yes. So as soon as it started hailing, everyone was like, oh no, we're gonna have to do it inside. And I was like, make sure we wipe down the benches, make sure the staircase is swept because we're doing this outside. And it was.
Smart.
It cleared
it
up.
was beautiful. It was like sunny and gorgeous, and it wasn't like sopping wet everywhere. It was like a perfect ceremony. I cried instantly when you started when you were walking towards the
Really?
whatever. Yeah,
Whoa,
instantly.
Why?
The knoll.
Because I just knew
You were looking at
could
how I was
see the
dressed, and you were
importance-
like, "He's disgusting."
No, you looked so handsome.
He looks so handsome.
But it was just like I saw the importance on your face. Like I saw a little bit of nerves. I saw like how special this was to you, like on your face. And I just like couldn't handle it. And I started like welling up like instantly because it was just like, I just saw all the love you had for Alli. Like everything was just on your face. I don't know why.
You know,
and then your cute little dog was there.
Oh yeah, Jack was there.
Jack.
Nikki, you are an extreme empath. I have frequently said things to you about like my pains or whatever, and I can see you feeling my pain. And I think that's an incredible personality trait. So I think
I will never say that I'm an empath because I hate people that do. And they're usually not, because it's just a way to be like, there's a lot of people on F-Boy Island, let me just say, that are always like, and because I'm an empath, like I like get what you're saying about your struggle.
Well, you can't say
John,
that about
and he's
yourself.
like, my name's Jack. Yeah.
if you say it about
But people
yourself,
say it all
you're
the
not,
time.
you're not an empath.
Well, and I used to have a therapist who told me I had no empathy, but I think I'm brimming with it.
I think you're brimming with it.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. Well, that's why you felt
I really
that.
felt it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just so, that was and then just, let's get to your vows though. Anya wants to know when you started preparing and how long it took you.
6 years ago, Anya.
Before I even met Alli,
No.
I started writing. No, I took about a month prior, I wrote a first draft and then just like molded over, just like was mulling it over. I just did notes in my phone, and then like I'd say I looked it over like 4 more times.
Anya's stressing out.
The biggest time I looked it over was the night before when I wrote it down in my little book, and the day before that when we were in Vail, I did a pass on it. But normally I only spend like I did my brother's best man speech. I did Rob Stern's best man speech, and I wrote those the day of. Normally I do it the day
I
of.
would write
you
the
wrote
day
your
of.
best man speeches? Oh, you
No,
mean
like when
you
he
were
was
the
a best man.
When I was the
was
best
like,
man for my
I
brother.
kind of want to do that. Control everyone's speech.
But for the
Brian would
vows,
have liked that too.
I knew that there was going to be a certain expectation, especially amongst my high school friends and stuff, that these
Did you say especially?
especially expectations were from
No, it's especially.
especially.
No, especially. Brian, you are too smart to be saying
I know,
especially.
It was
Okay,
especially, I think for my high school friends and my family, especially to prove it to my family. Like, I'm a
Yeah.
good writer. I'm funny. I needed this to be good.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody that I
was-
ever cared about or loved is sitting there in these seats.
Wow.
And it's not just that I care about and love them, but also I have something to prove to some of these people. Some of Alli's
Yeah.
family never even met me. And I'm like, I'm going to show you who I am in my writing.
Well, it wasn't even like you did that, and you weren't trying to be too funny because, first of all, you just are funny, and so you trying to be sincere even became really fun. You like being as sincere as
God.
possible was hilarious. Can we just go? Can you walk us through your vows? Can we just hear it?
I laughed so hard multiple times.
I think the besties deserve to hear the whole thing.
Please.
I won't. It's pretty long, so I won't do the whole thing. But
Okay.
I can.
Oh, there are some moments that really got me.
There was one moment
the
where
salmon runner.
Oh, the salmon runner was great.
there was one moment where no matter how many times I read it to myself, I couldn't not cry, and I was like, I'm not
I
going
don't
to
know how
cry.
you didn't sob the whole time, Brian.
Yeah. I just want to say that it was a miracle because I feel like shit probably 9 out of 10 days of the week, and I didn't sleep a single second before this day. And the entire day, I felt a solid 85%, which is like the best I felt.
I think it proves
That's great.
that it's in your head,
Well,
which you
I
already know.
that.
You know everything.
I know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I was a
I
solid,
like that you know that.
I was a solid 85%. It was a miracle. And honestly, I felt
I'm
all
so
that
glad. I was so worried about that.
all that anxiety. But when I was with my groomsmen in the getting ready room, I said to them, I said a line. Rob was there and he laughed out loud. I didn't even realize it was funny. I said, I didn't sleep at all last night, not a single second. But if I do sleep, I know I would have ground and clacked my teeth. So I guess it's better to be tired than in pain.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. Like you would have had some like crazy nightmares and stress dreams that would have like added to the overall stress.
Yeah.
So you were just tired, but
Not in pain. And so that's how I
Yeah.
felt going into up to this. But once I got there, all that anxiety and the pressure of my friends and family wanting me to have the best time of my life turned into incredible feelings of love and support. And I felt amazing. And I can honestly say this, I know it's cliche, but this was the best day of my life. Best day of my life. I had the best time. I married the love of my life and I have no regrets. And the whole day was amazing. And this anxiety was lifted off of me. And I think during the dancing and stuff, it was truly like being on drugs. It was cathartic. We were so happy, not just that we got married, but that it was over. All of it's over now. Multiple times, Allie and I raised our hands in the air and said, "It's fucking over. We're done. We don't have to do any more shit." That felt so good.
The highlight of my night, despite all the laughs and your stuff and like all the joy with her vows.
And like how pretty I looked.
And how pretty Nikki made me say she looked. Was when I got like 2 minutes with Allie in the middle of the dancing. And the first thing she said was, this is the greatest day of my life. And I was just like, I was overcome with joy because I knew she meant it. Like she loves
it was in my
old
top
Brian.
like 1,000 days. Honestly, and that's like a lot.
It was filled with joy. And
No, it was
and
awesome.
And
It was truly like a perfect wedding. If I could just like have that be my wedding, like it seemed like the best.
And Allie looks like she's beautiful when you're going on a hike, and she's beautiful when like she's hanging out and all that fun stuff.
Easy.
But she was born like it looked like she was born to be
a bride.
A bride.
Yeah, she looked stunning, and her dress was perfect. But she also got down on the dance floor in a way I've never. If you've seen me dance at like a Swift concert, and you're kind of like, wow, take it easy, Nikki. You don't know what dancing is until you see this girl.
Well, what was beautiful? Like
she was bopping around.
Do you know what song? Do you remember what song it was? It would take me a little bit. But
I remember. There's a song that's something like it lit
like
up.
Hot wires. All of her friends must have like done this song at USC. Was it Space? No,
Yes.
it was after Space Jam was one of them. But
there was
one
another
after
one.
Space Jam where I was like,
remember. It was
Third Eye Blind.
They went buck wild.
They were like,
and that's
they knew
one of
all
my
the
favorite
words.
things is those beautiful moments where like every single friend, if they hear it, it's like a beacon that they all have to gather together. And there was a few of those songs where like all of her girlfriends knew we've got to get to the dance floor.
For me, it was YMCA. That was my.
Oh yeah.
But here's this. I want you to see this.
As it's playing, I was saying to Chris, "This is the gayest song imaginable. I can't believe the lyrics. How gay that song is.
You can hang out with all the boys.
You can hang out with all the boys. You can do whatever you please. You can have a good and then it's about like getting homeless boys off the street, which is a nice thing.
Yeah.
And it's like you can come in, you can get clean, you can have a good meal, and then you can fucking
Do
fuck each other.
whatever you feel.
Yeah.
And if that's what you feel.
So gay.
Yeah.
And it's so your body just knows YMCA. Like you don't even have to think about it. It's like
You
the
can't
thumbs up
not
thing.
dance to YMCA. The beginning beat is so danceable.
But in the 70s, did people like were accepting of gay people? Like were in the 70s where people like this song's fucking gay, and like and
No,
we
they
still like
still
it
don't
because I
know.
feel like
People
weren't
who
the
aren't
Village
gay,
people
I
gay?
think, don't even realize because, like, I think in Republic, I think
People
maybe
don't know
Donald
that's a
Trump
gay
wanted
song?
that to be his like theme song, and they said no. Like there was some Republican who was like, "I want it to be my theme song."
But the YMCA now is like you can come in and get your picture taken and then pay $30. You can go on the slide in the lazy river. It's like you can run into a bunch of families. You cannot go past this gate because you didn't scan your card. It's like YMCA is like hell
rules.
down. Yeah, it's not the same. But it used to be like a fucking gay bathhouse. It was really fun.
You could
I
walk
went
on
to
the
one this
sidelines of a
week.
pickup basketball game and feel really nervous about getting in with real athletes.
You can go on a treadmill that a fat guy didn't wipe down. You can do whatever. You can watch Fox News on the screens. It's like that's what's going on at YMCA's now. Okay. Anyway,
I wanted to show you
Vows.
this picture. This is like a preview picture from that the photographer sent. So that's me.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
God.
Yeah, that was
That's
Allie's
iconic.
energy. Just bouncy. And
That
is that
is
your
iconic.
dad?
That's my
in the
dad in the
background?
background,
He's so
cheering
cute.
for us. So
Who's basically like, I didn't know my son was such a stud.
Yeah, your dad was so proud of you. It was sweet.
I
He
sent
came up
that
to me
picture. Oh, sorry, I want to hear
Yeah.
that, but I sent that picture to Darian Hip Hop Henning. And I said,
Oh, yeah.
and I
That's a
said,
great one
I
to
said,
advertise.
I just got married and you weren't there in person, but you were definitely there in my hips and knees. And I couldn't have done it without you.
Darian Hip Hop Denning.
Truly, he is the reason I
Brian's
was able to have a
dance
good
coach
yes.
for every once a week for
For a year and
3
a
years.
half. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it
That's
did
so
pay off. You
sweet.
looked so fluid and comfortable in your casual dancing.
Thank you.
Can I just hear the first couple lines of your vows, because that's what really got me.
Okay, so it worked out that Alli's vows were amazing, but it also worked.
They were so funny too, and cute.
They were funny. They were amazing, heartfelt. I loved them, and they also worked as a setup for my first line, which wound up being a punchline. It wouldn't have gotten a laugh if
man.
Alli didn't do her vows.
Oh,
Did you plan it
interesting.
that way?
No, I didn't expect the first line to get a laugh.
They don't hear each other's vows.
Yeah,
Matt wants to like go over our vows before the wedding.
I
and I'm like,
wouldn't.
I want to be
No.
surprised.
Yeah.
No, you won't. That's the
Yeah.
point of
What'd you
it.
say?
Part of
Brian?
the fun.
Yeah.
He said I wouldn't.
Okay,
I
cool.
wouldn't go over the vow. I mean, we got lucky in that we didn't cover the same ground in our vows, but I think it was so nice hearing them from the heart in
Yeah,
person on the
fresh.
day.
Supposed to go first.
doesn't
Doesn't matter.
matter.
Whoever you think should. Yeah.
Why don't we take a break and come back and listen to
DTs.
Brian's vows, because we got to do that, and we're not going to get enough in before we go. So we'll be right back, and you're going to want to hear it, Brian's vows, after this. All right, dearly beloved, we are gathered here. Brian, will you read some of your vows?
Yes. So Alli did her vows, and then my first line was
Hers were amazing, by the way. I don't want to breeze past that. I'm not just saying like, oh, they were cute and lovely. They made me cry so much, and they were you're right, the perfect setup to yours.
because Alli's vows were funny and heartfelt, but they were also more normal. And then
Yes.
because my first line
Because
she's normal.
Yeah.
because she's like, I love you, and then it's swelled to a loving thing, and then I say, before I met you, I was very lonely.
That was the first line. He didn't crush.
It was so
It was just so
funny.
blunt.
But I also
And it was
felt
so
like,
true, because
yes,
everyone there knew that.
everyone there knew
all
Brian's
knew.
plight.
Yes.
He wanted to find somebody. It wasn't working out. It was a miracle that he found
Oh
Alli.
my God. The line that made me cry, it's even thinking about it. I can't even, can you do the line well, just
was
take
like,
us through,
oh,
but
man.
you got to do the line of, I don't want to tease it at all. Just keep
Okay,
going.
so
And if you don't do it, I'll tell you.
I start telling the story about I had been single and searching for someone for a long time. I lost hope I would find anyone. My expectations were very low, which also got a laugh. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, it was really
yes,
funny.
that's hilarious.
I used to say I want someone who will ask me what I want for dinner tonight, which I've said to you, Nikki, before. That's when I was searching for someone. I would always say, I just want someone that will ask me what do I want for dinner tonight, because that's like the symbol of just like we're a partnership.
A mom. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And then I threw in.
yeah, no,
Quick
that's so
question.
sweet.
Yes.
Can I get clarification on that? Like, is that open to like Uber Eats, or are we talking like, what do you want me to cook for you tonight?
Well, that was my
that's-
joke.
yeah.
I said
Oh, sorry.
something I realize now I could get from a McDonald's.
No, but
Yeah, like
but
they go,
honest
what do you want for
question.
dinner tonight?
Yes.
I pictured the person saying it was so funny.
But honest question, like in your dreams, were you looking for someone who was cooking for you, or you just wanted them to
No, he
care?
wanted-
I wanted somebody when you're single and alone, no one gives a shit what you do at any time. You don't have to clear anything with anybody. But when you're
Right.
with somebody, a very normal thing in a relationship is for you to say, "Hey, what are we doing for dinner tonight?" And
Got
that's
it.
what I
Yeah.
wanted. I wanted
It wasn't
that,
about cooking.
Yeah, I wanted that like sort of routine and that expectation that someone else is like interested and on board with whatever it is that we're doing together for dinner.
It's a really
your team,
beautiful, simplistic, poetic way of,
Nice.
highlighting what relationships are about. Is about someone caring about the mundane,
Yeah.
Yes.
your mundane needs,
Your desires. yeah.
Yeah,
Like, what would you
yeah.
like?
Yeah.
And I always, when Chris says it, I always say your dick. And so it's like it is my.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Ah, she did it.
Yeah.
Did it.
Got
I
him.
say I want your Dick for dinner. Okay.
Oh man.
DFD.
Take it out.
Uber Eats.
That's good.
That's what
It's
you're
Uber.
going to do. Okay. All right. So keep going on the vows.
So then I start talking about dating. So when I first saw a picture of you on that dating app, dressed like a pirate, only one thought crossed my mind. There's absolutely no way someone that beautiful will ever talk to me, which is truly what I felt.
Yeah.
But I said, you know what?
That's what we all felt.
Yes. No, it's really crazy. I really
She's
do think that she's out of my
pretty.
league.
Yeah, she is.
But I said, you know what? I'm just going to message her because I'm just messaging a lot of people right now. It's a numbers game.
That was so funny. That was one of my favorite lines. You go, but you know what? I'm going to message her because I'm just messaging a lot of people right now. I remember that got a huge laugh because it was like, but you know what? Because we thought you were going to say, I'm going to message her because, you know, on the off chance this girl will maybe respond.
Yeah, or like, I feel some magic
There's something
in
else
the air.
here.
Like,
Usually I would pass up on this, but there was something about the way her smile, tilted to the side. But he was just like, because I was just messing with a lot of people. This is a numbers
that was
game.
one of the biggest laughs
That was
I've
so
ever heard
funny. That
at
was
any
so
comedy
funny.
show.
Okay, go on.
So the fact that you not only responded but also agreed to go on a date was quite frankly shocking. I was certain you would cancel, or maybe you were. This was one of my actual punchlines. I sort of regretted having actual punchlines in there because I was like, everyone knows I'm trying to get a laugh.
Well, no. I don't think so. You got it.
It was perfect. It felt perfect.
That's who you are anyway.
Yeah.
Like you try to get laughs in your own life.
Yeah, I was trying to get some
are.
laughs. So I was certain you would cancel, or maybe you were an actual pirate who was about to ask me for money. So that was an actual punchline.
Okay, well, I regret that for you as well. Let's skip over that one. No, it was good.
The last thing I expected was the actual girl from that picture to walk through the doors of that weird airport-themed bar I stupidly suggested. And then I
closed.
Yes, and then I when people laughed at that, then I said it went out of business 3 months later because turns out people don't want to spend more time in an airport.
It was so funny.
That was off the cuff.
Yeah, that was really good. Riffing up there.
Yeah, now I'm riffing. I'm doing crowd work.
Doing crowd work.
I go, what are you, my mom? When I first saw you, I thought you were the most beautiful person I'd ever seen. So beautiful, the bartender was confused at what was even happening. Which is true. He probably thought I was your agent.
Great line.
I cannot believe how lucky I was to be sitting across from you that night. You laughed at my weird jokes. You were smart. You were kind. I was so nervous and excited. I talked for 45 minutes about salmon. I went, and this is all true. We talk about it all the time. I went on and on about salmon and where to buy salmon and what temperature to cook salmon. And this is my vows.
Yes.
He kept talking. He said salmon like 8 times.
mentioned the salmon as well,
Yes.
correct? She had front loaded the salmon thing. So it was so funny because we all knew they had not heard each other's speeches. Like it wasn't that vibe of like, I would never in a million years think that they planned this, but it was lovely that they had,
Right.
and that's what you'll have, Anya, too, is like you and Matt will have crossovers in yours that will be genuine and cute rather than like planned.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell him I forbid us from doing
There
your
you go.
plan.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, good. That's what you
Alpha.
should do. So for most girls,
Somehow you got him. Being alpha.
For most
The
girls, a 10-minute lecture about salmon on a first date would be a deal breaker. But you said, and I quote, "That's cool how much you know about salmon."
Yeah.
Oh, this was all over time.
And she meant it. That's why we go well together.
Oh, yes.
And that's when I knew I'd be talking to you.
Oh yeah, I liked that part where you go, and she meant it. Like she was like, "That's cool how much you know about salmon."
Yeah,
like she really.
The beauty of
that's
their
who she
relationship is that she really gets Brian.
Yes.
Like not only gets him, but appreciates Brian. And for anybody that has like been getting to know Brian over this, since he started the podcast, once you get it, you're all in.
Oh yeah, because I don't understand who's like. There was some talk of like Brian's kind of like a interesting, different kind of guy, which arguably he is. Who would not like Brian Frangie? I don't understand it because
Join
you're
the Brian
only
Frangie
nice.
Club, man.
You're nice is first and foremost. Like you can't not like someone who's not nice. Sure, you get grumpy sometimes and you like have strong opinions about things, but overall, you're like a very kind person, which is like I forget. I was telling my mom like how we met, and I'm like, he was just not. He was a guy in Bloomington. I was at a comedy club, and he was nice. And you want those people around. If you don't like Brian Frangie, that's on you.
Well, I'm just talking about being like appreciating how
quirky.
amazing and hilarious he is.
Yes.
Like he, while he was doing stand up, he was like my favorite comic. I felt like he was Larry David and Bill Burr
Yes.
in one human man.
Yes.
I could see
totally.
that.
Wow.
And he's not doing stand up enough anymore. But man,
We'll get him back out there.
We'll get him back out there. So yeah, that line. The salmon stuff killed.
I can say
Killed.
that I had to learn in my life the phrase "just kidding" because frequently, if I'm in a conversation with somebody or meeting new people, I'll do a joke and they will not get it at all. So I learned to say "just kidding" a lot in my life.
Just kidding.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because if they don't get it and I don't say "just kidding," then they just look at me like I'm insane, and that's happened so many times.
And sometimes you're not kidding though.
Nick
Well,
is
that's why
making
you have to
herself.
really understand the
Yeah.
nuance of Brian Frangie. And Alli does. And she's really bought into this
Your
Frangie
brother told
thing.
a hilarious Frangie story when we were all gathered together after, like, we had a really fun group at the end of the night. Everyone was kind of drunk, and partying, and the bride was with them and she was holding that down. It was so nice of her to, like, stay with the main party because we kind of went up to the cabin with Brian and Rob Stern and his the Steinman guy and your brother who did the ceremony, and then Chris and Tim Convey. And Tim was telling a story about and Rob's wife,
Meredith.
Meredith, yes.
Meredith.
And so he was telling a story about when he lived with Brian and they were like looking at apartments or whatever. And he was going through, like, there was like they're just going through, and Brian's just like, and what about this? And like, well, seems a little, doesn't work very well. And he went up to a kitchen cabinet and like pulled on it and was like, and this doesn't even open.
You're like, what's up with this?
What's up with this? This
What's
is
going on
jammed.
with
And
this?
then the landlord just goes, it opens on the other side. So he's like pulling on the hinge side, being like, and what about this? Oh, so are you going to fix this?
He's like preempting it so he could get a good deal.
Funny. Okay, back to Vows.
I just want to say it was so amazing having all you guys there. I was so happy that you guys
It
came.
was so fun to be there.
It was like it made my
The food was so good.
Yeah.
And the atmosphere and like all your friends were fun. It was like, and Chris and I just had like a great time on little like adventures that we went on together. The town was cute.
And they did a bunch of thoughtful things, like for people that were vegan, they made sure all the vegan people got stuff. And then the gift bags were really thoughtful.
Yeah, they were so cute.
And I've never seen better place cards, like to find your table.
Oh yeah, that was really
Coasters.
nice.
They're big on national parks.
And they had your name.
You had your name on them, but then also I think they associated the closest or the national park that sort of
right.
made most sense to you.
Yes.
And they had the St. Louis Arch for
We
us,
were at the
which was
table,
pretty extraordinary.
the Gateway Arch table. It was cool.
Yeah.
And and it was just a great group of people, and the dancing was fun, and it was low key, and there wasn't like everyone has to look amazing. You're in Colorado, so it was kind of like a laid back. And Brian wears like fanny packs everywhere,
Yes.
so it was like the dress code. It wasn't like we need to be seen and look perfect. Like I felt like it was just casual and fun, and it was about having fun.
Yes.
And
that was our number one goal. We wanted
it was
everyone
totally
to have
easy.
a good time.
It was easy.
We had
The
food
opposite
out.
of an Anya wedding.
Oh no, she's mad.
What did you say?
She looked like she just ate a cherry pit.
All I heard was food on your wedding.
I said opposite of Anya wedding. Sorry. I was just
kidding.
joking.
I am filled
okay.
with so much anxiety, but that does sound so
Why?
lovely. I don't have gift bags. I don't have a theme.
Don't compare.
No one needs a gift
I
bag
don't-
because you don't have you don't need gift bags, babe. You
I
don't
haven't
need gift
thought
bags.
about coasters or name tags. It's
But
just
no one.
don't
There's no
compare.
seat placements, babe. You don't need that.
I should have
And the
thought.
personal
But I
masseuses
should have had
that they
gift
gave to us.
bags.
You don't have to do
No
those
one
either.
needs gift bags, Anya. This was an added thing for people because they were coming in and staying the whole weekend at this place. Like
Yes.
it was.
It was a pain in
no
the
one
ass.
is. I
get there.
honestly, I would never care if there wasn't
Yeah.
gift bags ever.
Oh, can
ever,
I say
ever.
that one last thing quickly that I just remembered that Nikki said to soothe me my anxiety at 2 a.m. about my wedding? I go, and I over invited people. I was supposed to have 50. It's in a tiny backyard and there's 60 people coming.
People
and
can go inside.
she goes, babe, so many people are going to get sick.
I did. I said that.
Yeah, you go, so many people are going to get sick. And I just started laughing and it all went
Wait,
away.
what does that mean?
It just
I
means they're
think-
going to eat too many cherries.
I think you meant
They're not going to show
before
up.
the wedding. But it sounded like all my friends in droves are just going to be getting sick everywhere and canceling. And
I
it was
did
like,
not say so many people are going to get sick. There's no way. That
look in
doesn't
the-
even make sense. I said
look in
people
the
can
text.
people can go inside.
No, you said so many people are going to get sick. When I said I'm
proving this
nervous,
wrong.
Oh,
don't do
no.
it now.
There
It's
it is.
bad radio. It's bad radio. But
No, I can find it. But
when I was
Vows,
stressing
vows.
about too many people, yeah, it's there. But you meant like before they'll flake. But it just sounded so funny. Like, look forward to all your friends getting sick.
If it makes you
I
feel any
know for a
better,
fact I
Anya,
didn't say that, but yes.
I don't think
Yes.
there's anything that anybody can say or do to lower your anxiety. Because I can say I had gift bags, I had a theme or whatever, and
Right.
I
Yeah.
had the most anxiety of my entire life leading up to this. Like there was nothing anyone could have said or done. There was no wedding advice I could have heard that would have lowered my anxiety at all. So I don't think there's anything you can do. You're just gonna
Yeah,
have
I'll just
super
go
high
through it.
anxiety.
I relate to you so much. It's on so many things. Like, so I just know I'll probably have a sleepless night too, and that's okay.
It's
and
almost
I
better.
loved hearing you say it was the best night of your life.
Yes,
'Cause-
it's just
Okay.
worked out. And if
Yeah.
it doesn't, then I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. If it doesn't, I don't know.
It's not Brian's
It
fault.
worked out
Then you
for
picked
me.
The wrong guy.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle.
all right, final thought.
Here's my final thought. I can't wait to talk about Noah's experience with Taylor
You're not
Swift.
gonna be there.
Next episode.
I know.
You'll have
my
to
mom
come
will
back,
be there
Chris.
to talk about it. I know. You could come back.
I'll listen to it.
But I did look up, you said Kate's place is small. I'm thinking, what was I thinking inviting so many people? I said, it's hard to keep it small. And I said, people will make it work and sit inside if they have to. It's not that big of a deal. I know it feels like it is, but it's not. Everyone who's going has been to a million weddings. It's a big deal to you, and so you just make it fun for you. Everyone else, it's just another event. Write them the morning of. That's what and you were worried about something else. I said, just write them the morning of. That's what I would 100% do. Write them in the morning. I swear it will be fine. No one will remember them. Oh, the vows. Write them in the morning. No one will remember them if they are good or bad. There's no recording to revisit. I promise. Just write them in the morning. Ask for time alone to do it. And that was I never said they'll all get sick. But if you find that, I would love it. We'll put it on the Instagram. But I never said that.
I feel like I heard some sick stuff in there. I'm on Anya's side.
I delete all my texts, sadly.
Oh.
Well, I will go through it and I will send you screenshots to prove that I never said that. Why
I
do you
laughed
wait? You
so
delete all
hard.
your texts?
Yeah, there's incriminating stuff.
Oh.
Really?
Sometimes. Yeah,
Oh
I
my
don't.
god!
I just
You were-
speak
like, so you
freely
delete-
in text. I'm like uncensored, and then I'm like, oh, I should delete that.
Oh wow!
What if-
But it
maybe I
exists
should
on
do
the other
that.
side.
What if you find the text, Nikki, and then you realize that it was even worse? Like you said, I hope everyone gets sick.
Can you search Anya and sick?
I did, and it says, and it's me saying, well, we were talking. It's so funny. What
It was about the last time you guys went snowboarding. You're like this.
That's funny. It said because we were talking about like people who we were watching the Ultimatum Queer Edition. We were talking about someone who had been in a lesbian relationship, and they're mainly in straight relationships. And one day in the lesbian relationship, they were just like, oh, I hate eating pussy. What am I even doing? And that was used as Anya was kind of saying, because that person's experience, it was kind of like proof that they were just doing that as like, I want to be cool and lesbian for a while, but they really don't like pussy.
Or maybe it was about the person.
And that's what I said. I go, how many times have you been with a man and been disgusted by his and been sickened? The word sickened by his genitalia. And so that was the word. So I was like, I think it's more about the person. And then I referenced someone from a past of someone's we know.
Oh, that was a good one. I just searched my iMessage, and you know what came up? Me telling a friend of mine who was soothing me about marriage. How funny it was that Nikki had said to me, "Don't worry, babe. So many people are going to get sick." So somewhere I have this memory of something that may have never occurred, but it actually did.
The only reason I don't think I would say that is not because it's not something I would. It's not because I'm like, I don't want people to think I'm rude that they're going to get sick. I just have, that's not a train. You know how you know when you have not said something? Because Chris, I even accused you of saying something recently and you were like, I would never say that. And I trusted that he didn't say it because you know what you would say and wouldn't say, and doesn't fit.
That seems Nikki, because people will get sick probably before the wedding.
No, I would never think that. If people go to New York City, that's not even a thought that would ever occur to me that people would get sick. No,
this was not entertaining. Cut it all.
I think it's entertaining.
I remembered something that never occurred.
No, but it's an interesting conversation.
Remembered something that didn't happen? Yeah. What about... Brian, do you want to finish the loop on those vows?
Yeah, please.
Did you say the line that killed Nikki? I thought it was something else.
Oh, no, it's coming up.
Yeah, I thought so.
So I said, that's cool how much you know about salmon, and you meant it. And that's when I knew I'd be talking to you for the rest of my life about all sorts of fish, even cod.
Even cod.
Even cod. When the date ended and I walked back to my car, I looked up at the moon, I raised my fist, and I audibly cheered. Which is true. And then I did a little paragraph about the moon. And then I did my the reasons I love you part, which is pretty standard vow part. Like, Alli, I love the way you patiently listen to my endless rants. I love blah, blah, blah. So I did all these I love you. Do you want
No, we want to hear those.
Oh, okay.
This is all chat GPT.
We like those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is like girl stuff. We swoon hard at like the details that you like, the little things we don't like about ourselves or whatever.
I love the way you patiently listen to my endless rants. I love the way you are unconditionally supportive of me, even though I'm an unemployed comedian. I love your kindness and your optimism, your undying loyalty, and the sincere joy with which you travel through life. I love how much time you taking things out of bags and putting them into smaller bags.
That was like an inside joke. That was cute. I don't even know what that means or what that looks like.
Whenever we're on a trip, she's like, "Oh, I got to move this from this bag into another bag, and then put that into a different bag." And it takes so much time. And I'm like, "Can you just leave everything in a big bag?"
So do you really like that about her? Because this is the thing about vows that bugs me is when people will say things like, I love when you like get little like some food by the side of your mouth when you chew loudly. And it's like, well, this is going to be a reason you divorce them someday. And you're just trying to be cute right now. And actually you're allowed to not like things about people.
When you love them, those little things are the things that you wind up.
But you don't love it.
No, I think those little things are for me, it's like, those are the little things I'm like, yes, this would be annoying if I hated you, but because I love you, those are the little things I think I would miss. Like it's like what you were saying about there's that joke you said on one of the previous podcast episodes in the last 3 weeks where it's like, the hat thing. Like at the drop of he wore hats.
Yeah, he wore hats.
So it's like that with the little bags. I'd be like, if Alli and I broke up or something and I saw someone
and you saw little
I'd
bags.
be like, oh my God, Alli always did the little bags thing. You know, it's like that.
If Chris saw little bags, he'd be like, she has those under her eyes all the time. I miss
medium
her. It's like one of those Barney's bags. It's like medium bag.
Yeah, and it's also the stuff you tease each other about. Like, I love how you always fill the water pitcher up too much, and you simply refuse to admit it's filled too high, no matter how many times it spills out the top all over the counter. Which is just something we've
all done that.
Yes. And you don't cook except for when you microwave eggs. And so
that ought to got an audible groan from people of like, oh, how could she? I was like, no, that sounds like a great idea.
And so I never did get someone who'll ask me what I want for dinner. It's more like, what are you making me for dinner tonight? Which is fine because I make an absolutely incredible salmon that is as good as advertised. In fact,
Anya's taking notes.
Yeah, I really am.
The question is better because it's not about the salmon. It was never about the salmon. It's that now I finally have someone to cook for who loves me.
Oh, that was the line. That was the line that like fucking man.
Because I couldn't get through it. I couldn't get through that line. Now that it's over, I can do it anytime. But
it's easy.
Saying like, I just, what you were saying there is like, I found someone who like loves me. Like that, like someone being vulnerable enough to admit that they didn't think they would find someone. Because in that line, you're saying like, I thought maybe no one would ever love me. And like, I found someone who loves me. And it was a vulnerable thing for a guy to say that he just wants to be loved and to be like cared about. It was like really gay. And that's why you played YMCA. No, it was just so vulnerable. It was so vulnerable and like, but it's true. I mean, and that's what I loved about it was because it was just so honest
about reason I couldn't,
how you actually feel.
Well, the reason I couldn't get through it is because when I was writing this, that was like a revelation to me. Like, why was it that on our first date, I talked about cooking salmon for 45 minutes? I didn't connect that with me saying to you, Nikki, earlier that I just want someone who asked me what I want for dinner. And I realized while writing this, I was like, the reason why this is so important to me is because I wasn't talking to her about the salmon because I wanted to brag about how I could cook salmon or something. I was doing it because subconsciously I was like, I want to be able to cook dinner for you. I want someone to share this with. And I realized that while writing the vows. And that's why I couldn't get through it without crying.
Oh,
and then
it
was
really got me.
extraordinary.
It was awesome.
That's so
And
sweet.
she really does.
Yes.
I mean, I think
She loves him so much.
No,
It's
she
so
definitely
sweet.
does.
They are I have no question that you'll be together forever and ever. Like, and I would just say nothing. Because who needs to say that when people get married? But let's be honest, 50% of marriages end in divorce.
I mean,
so
most times you're sitting at weddings and being like, I'm in somebody's backyard in New York. These people aren't going to make it.
no way they're not gonna be. They're just so perfect. Oh yeah, you're doing Anya. No, well, Anya, I've known they were gonna be together forever since forever. But yeah, it was just everyone got it there. It was so nice. And your dad and Allie's dad are the same person.
Yes. Oh my
Did
God.
you know
I say that all the time. And I say, you guys would
I
be
thought
such good
that
friends if you lived in the same
He
city.
gave a speech. And then Allie's dad gave a speech, and then your dad gave a speech, and I go, "Why is Allie's dad back up there?" Because they were pacing the same way. They both are lanky, tall men,
Yes.
and as someone with a lanky, tall dad, I get it too. And yeah, it was really, and their speeches were so sweet and thoughtful about you. And then the best man speech was hilarious. And did he say anything that made you super embarrassed and you were worried about? Because you were pretty worried before that.
Yeah, I was worried, but no, nothing. Everything was great. I mean, Allie's dad said some things that I was like, what? How did he even know that about us? That were more embarrassing. But the best man speech and Rob's speech were so great.
Oh yeah, Rob's speech was so good.
Yeah, and then and Allie's sister did a speech too, and she actually, she said.
Oh yeah, and she said some sweet stuff.
She told the story, the real story of how Allie and I got together, which I'm glad somebody mentioned it because I golden scissored it out of the vows. But the truth is that Allie and I went on a first date. I thought she was the love of my life. I thought we were going to be together forever. And then we had a second date set up. And right the day before, or 2 days before the date, I get a text from Allie saying, I hate to do this, but I need to cancel our date. An old flame has reemerged unexpectedly, and I'm going to give it a shot with him. So
I've sent that text to a lot of guys over the years.
So we didn't.
Mine stuck around though.
Well, we didn't go on that second date, and then I went insane. I was so upset, and I went on dates with like 30 to 40 different women over the next 3 months. I went crazy dating. I was doing 3 dates a night. I was just trying to find someone that would be as good as Allie. And about 4 months passed, and then I just had a feeling. I just had a feeling because I had a feeling that when someone sends a text like that, an old flame reemerges from the past. I was like, that's not gonna last. So I texted Allie out of the blue in like 4 months later, and I said, "Hey," because I never even responded to her cancel text. I was so sad. I didn't even respond. So the text chain is just her sending that text and then
That's a
4
great
months.
move, actually.
It is a great move. Because I'd be like, this guy's pissed.
Yeah.
And he's so sad, and like he's not being understanding of it. He doesn't wish me well with this guy. Because a lot of times he'll go like, I just want you to be happy, and I really hope. And it's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You're not happy about this. Be honest. Like leaving like that. That's a good move.
I thought she was the love of my life. I thought I was
think
done.
It's a loose end.
Yeah. I thought I was done looking, and I looked at the moon and I fist pumped because I was like, I'm done. I don't have to do this anymore. I found her, and then the cancellation was such a blow. I almost I was working on a show at the time, and I walked into the showrunner's office. I didn't even know the guy. I had no relationship with him, and I said, "Can I just be in here?" And he was like, "Okay." And I just sat in his office and I poured my heart out. Greg Tukolescu, who couldn't make it to the wedding, but he wanted to be there, and I just poured my heart out to him about how sad this was. And And I really was devastated, and I went crazy. I went on crazy dating mode. I went on so many dates that year. It was absurd.
So then what happened
I've
4
done
months
that.
later?
4 months
Same thing
later,
happened with me and Matt.
4 months later,
Yeah, it did.
I text her out of the blue, and I say, hey, I really thought I had a great time on our date. I really thought we had a connection, and I just wanted to see that if by any chance you and your old flame didn't work out. Yeah. And she texted back, and she said, as a matter of fact, it did not. And it just so happens they had officially broken up the week before.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Whoa.
And then we went on a second date, and then I was game over for Alli because not only was she like, I had the hand because she canceled, but I had been going on all these dates. I was like, I had seen the matrix of dating. I could get away with anything on dates. And so I was running circles around
You
Alli.
weren't nervous.
Not nervous.
Yeah.
By the time I went out, the first time I went out with Alli, I was so nervous. I talked about Salmon for 45 minutes. But the second time I went out with Alli, I was like, there's no.
It was a Groundhog Day.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Ned Ryerson.
The second time I went out with Alli, I was like, I am 100% in control. I am dodging bullets left and right. I am jumping through portals. And I really do. I can honestly say I fucking rocked
Kung
her
Fu.
world. I did.
Man, I feel like there are going to be guys listening being like, what was the secret to like being so bulletproof on a date? And it's probably just repetition, right?
It is rejection. Get rejected 100 times
any
in a
business,
year,
man.
and then you will lose all fear. And I was just there. I used to say like, if there's a chance that a girl likes me on a date, it's up to me whether or not we're gonna make out at the end of the date. Like, I'm not gonna mess this up.
Whoa.
I'm not gonna. There's nothing I'm gonna do to mess it up. If she doesn't,
pickup artist.
if she doesn't
over
like
here.
me, then she doesn't like me. There's nothing you can do about it. But if she likes me at all, then I'm not going to do anything to mess it up. I can make out with this person.
Wow, it's so crazy to give up that skill, man.
I went out to dinner with Brian one night, and I
You
made
guys
out with
made
him
out.
because I didn't have a choice.
Brian, you proved our theory that a man will always pursue if he's interested enough.
Yes.
Even if it's 4
Yes.
months later.
Yeah.
Even if
Yes.
we have sent them
Great
a text.
point, Anya. To every girl listening who's like, is he into me?
Did he
If
lose
he
my
is,
number?
he will fuck. Yeah, did he lose my number? Maybe.
I also
he
want to
forgot
say
about
I
me.
do not take my own advice.
No, of course not.
No, I did not forget about
I have
None
Alli.
of us
Chased.
do.
At full speed, I have chased after a man.
Why didn't Alli write back to you? Did you ever get, well, like after it ended, was she still thinking about you? Did you ever get the answers on that?
I didn't text her. Yeah, she says she was. I think she was. She never lies. So
I wonder, she's probably one of those girls like, you know, Leighton Meester or whatever we were listening to, where it was like, she was just like, I don't know, I mean, just chill. Like, I do think about you all the time, but I'm just like, gonna wait. Like, what the fuck?
She's probably still
It's like
like
timing
kind of
wasn't right for
licking,
her.
not licking her wounds, but like processing that breakup. And then it's only been a week, and she's like, well, Brian never wrote me back.
yeah, she
Right.
said she was
He's
so
pissed at
happy.
me.
She was so happy when I texted her.
Oh, cutie. I wish I had footage of her receiving that text. That's always what I
Yeah.
want in people's lives, is like those moments where they're like, like I always want
Oh,
footage.
yeah.
I wonder if she yelled at the moon.
Oh my God.
American Tail.
The only time I've ever yelled at the moon was when Obama got elected, the night he got elected.
What'd you say?
I was alone, and I was going back to my apartment. I parked my car and I was walking into my apartment building across the street, and all of a sudden, and it had just been announced on NP. I was listening to the radio, and it had just been announced it was happening. Everyone else was at parties. I was like alone. I don't know why. Coming back from a show. And then a gust of wind, like the Santa Ana winds, it was like whoosh, and I just looked up, not at the moon, but at the sky, and I go, the winds have changed. And I stood in the middle of the street and paused and said, the winds have changed, to myself. And I was like, I'll never forget saying that to myself. And I also
That's a great
recently, we got to go. Oh, yeah?
It's a great
I
song.
don't even know that song.
Winds of Change. Oh, we're gonna play it
Scorpions.
right after this. Oh,
But
yeah.
I did-
You get it.
There are times where I catch myself doing things alone that I'm like, this is hilarious. And I didn't do it to later tell a story about it.
Right.
But it needs to be told because it's so funny. But I was watching a gangbang recently on porn, and the girl took so much during it. After I was done, I set down my phone and I just go, "Thank you for your service." I literally said that, and I started laughing so hard because I didn't intend to
You
be
meant
funny
it.
at all. I really meant it. Like, thank you for what you just gave me, because that was rough, girl. She was not able to do that for another year or so, what she did. It was Olympic style. Okay, so we got to go. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for your service. Thank you for listening to the show. We love you so much. Lots of tour dates coming up. You can go to nikkiglaser.com. I'm with David Spade this weekend in Las Vegas. If you want to plan a last minute trip, just look at flights. Come to see us. Venetian. And then, yeah, tons of tour dates. I wish I had them all listed, but they're at nikkiglaser.com. I love seeing you on the road. Anya's getting married next week.
Wow.
We will have a new show for you tomorrow. And don't be and just don't worry, because your friends are going to get sick.